Boom. There we go. There we go. Heading out into the corridor, I let myself drift away with my thoughts as I make my way to my room. So much has happened over the past 24 hours that I can hardly believe I have a moment to breathe at all. Think of Rye working so hard to save someone she barely knows, but would do anything for. It was heartbreaking on Oron, knowing that I could do nothing to protect her against Ren. I never want to feel that way again. I'm beginning to realize that the world is a dangerous place, much more so than I had imagined, and I'm still learning the rules of the game. Footsteps up ahead drag me from my thoughts, and I look up to see a familiar face heading toward me. June? He stops in front of me, his shoulders tight with hesitation as his mouth softly parts. Boo, I've been looking for you. Oh? I just wanted to say I'm so sorry you had to see all that back at the facility. I think I have bigger things to worry about. I don't think I have the luxury of being worried about what you had going on. It's not something I wanted any of you to witness. I understand your reaction. You don't have to apologize to me, June. I can only imagine how it felt for you to be back in that place. I can't say that I would have acted any differently. June shifted from side to side, clearing his throat before he speaks softly. You're not afraid of me? No, I'm not afraid of you. Dummy, I've witnessed people die left and right in front of me. I've basically essentially seen war happen 2 times. And I've been only here for like a few maybe months. I've only been here for a short period of time. I am not upset over you getting a little bit angry and destroying a few things. I have my character has seen things. I don't think they care, honestly. But all those people in the facility, the experiments, you destroyed them so easily like they were nothing. I don't think they were people. Why did you have to add the but? He already feels bad. He drops his head, and I can see that he feels my horror in some deep, hollow place inside himself. I'm not sorry for ending their lives. You have to understand, Boo. If I had let them live, they would have killed hundreds, thousands, perhaps. But the bombs would have killed them. You could have left them to the explosions. Wouldn't that have been better than killing them with your own hands? I can see the expression on his face that he's already thought this through, already grappled with the weight of his actions. It's likely they would have survived the explosion, and I couldn't take that risk. Their bodies were infused with orionite, same as mine, and they're not like me, Boo. How do you know that? They might have been suffering just like you. They were suffering. I've no doubt about that, but that's where the similarities end. June takes in a breath to calm himself. I can see that he knows much more about this situation than I do, and I trust his judgment. Then why are you saying this? Why are you questioning him, bro? I was already like, yeah, no. My transformation began before I was born, and there was no one else who took this to the substance like I did, not even my brother. The doctors, my parents, tried to recreate it over and over and failed every time. I don't know why I was the only one who survived it. Trust me when I say I've tried to find the answer. Those things in the facility used to be Kamari soldiers, but from the moment they were poisoned with Orionet, they became something else, something more dangerous than any of us. And the worst part is that they choose to do it, convinced that they would become some sort of superhero, maybe. He lets out a small scoff and shakes his head as though perplexed why anyone would willingly put themselves through that. I suppose I'm wondering the same thing. Before I joined the crew, I was lost. I tried to find others like me, convinced that if there was someone else out there who was moving on, who was living a life of their own, that maybe I had a chance. But there was no one, not a single soul. Every single subject that had been infused with Orionet's past birth was death. The older they were when the procedure was done, the more twisted they became, and quicker it killed them. Killing those soldiers on Oron makes me a monster, I know that much, but I'd do it again. Fair enough. I'm not complaining with you, sir. If it was me back there in their place. June falters, his emotion getting the better of him. I wish someone would kill me too. Oh, June! We're protecting us. I'm sorry that you had to go through all that. It sounds to me like you protected the people of the system from a threat they didn't even know exists. If they did know, I bet they'd be grateful. I know that I am. June's eyes widen on me. I don't think he expected this kind of reaction, but he seems grateful for it all the same. Thank you for your kindness, Boo. I can't say that I deserve it, but destroying that place has lifted a weight on me, knowing that those experiences will never be replicated, that Zovac will never unleash those monsters on the world. It feels good. Really good. His eyes drift away from me, his voice going quiet when he speaks next. Nobody will ever have to go through that again. If that's the last thing I ever do in this world, it was worth it. I believe that, and you'll go on to do much more, June. I'm glad that this has brought you the peace you deserve. We share a smile, and it occurs to me how nice it is to see June relieving himself of his burdens. Oh, look at his face! Oh, no, seeing him smile like this actually making me really happy. Oh! His gaze shifts to the window and to the vast expanse of space beyond the glass. I finally feel like I can look forward towards the future. I've been stuck in my nightmares of a past for far too long. It would be nice to focus on something else for once. I step up beside him, studying the void that stretches on and on between us and our next destination, and I think of my own future. That does sound nice. I feel it when June looks towards me. Feel the hesitation that hangs between us before he speaks again. Couldn't help but notice you and Rai back on Oron. I'm glad you found someone to be close with. I don't think it's the time to talk about romantic partners. I don't think it really is the time to talk about that, you know? I have to admit that I was surprised at first, but I can see what drew you two together. Thank you. That means a lot. Not the smile. June rubs at the back of his neck sheepishly as though he suddenly wishes he hadn't said anything about it at all. What, are you jealous? No, I'm kidding. Anyway, I'd better head off and find the captain. One of the guns jammed when we were shooting at the Kamari. We'll need to fix it as soon as we can. We're heading to a space station called Chrono. Can it be fixed there? Yes, that would be perfect. We'll have to look around for a couple of small parts, but Bash will see it done. We say our goodbyes as I carry on down the corridor. I hear June speaking into his communicator, using the device to locate Cauldron. At the thought of the captain, I wonder how a blood transfusion had gone with Vex. If the look of thunder on his face when he left the bridge was any indication, Rye had her work cut out for her. I feel for her. She had it tough today, but I know she's more than capable of handling the situation with Vex. I can only hope that the two of us will get a chance to be together soon. I'm looking forward to spending some time with her, alone with her. I'm desperate for rest, but I decide to check in on them all once more before I do. When I step into the infirmary for the second time this evening, the chaos from earlier has dissipated. The room is quiet, the lights dimmed. Rye's Mister is quietly running in the air, running in the background, the scent of lavender and Brenna hanging in the air. I spy Damien leaning back in Ryan's chair with his boots resting up on the desk in front of him. I shake my head, attempting to hold back a grin. Don't let Ryan catch you like that. My eyeball. He snorts at my teasing and turns, letting the chair fall forward as he sits up straight, his feet thumping to the floor. Never. I can hear the click of her boots from a mile away, so unless someone decides to go and be a tattletale, I'd say I'm safe. Where is she anyway? Damien pushes himself to his feet, stepping towards me with a smirk dancing on his lips. Why, are you looking for another makeout session? Hey, hold up. I give him a dry stare and he chuckles to himself quietly. Dog's taking a break. I know I'm not exactly a medical professional, but if you need a full body examination, then I wouldn't be asking you for one. If you say so, not when you've got on dear ducks wrapped around your finger, huh? I clear my throat softly, determined to change the subject and to remember why I actually came here. How did the blood transfusion go? Is Vex doing okay? Damien snorts again, as though I've somehow said something mildly funny. Went well enough, considering Cal could barely sit still for long enough to have his blood drawn. As soon as it was done, he tore out of here, muttering about Talarian, among other things. Lucky our Rye is a gem and Patch carries head up better than he deserves, I'd say. He looks toward the bed, shaking his head in either amusement or disappointment. I can't quite tell. He's resting now. He'll be fine. I follow Damien's gaze and feel my shoulders sag with relief. I want to see him, but before I step forward toward the curtain, something makes me pause. I turn to Damien once more. Cal told you we're heading to Tellurium? Yeah, sounds like Lisa's up to something. My hopes perk up. If anyone knows why Elisa might be on Delirium, it's Damien. What do you think it is? Who knows? Outsiders haven't been welcomed on Delirium for decades, so whatever it is, it's something big. Why else would they let a dope like Zane on the planet? I don't ask anymore. I know it's not his fault, but I'm disappointed to learn that Damien knows just as little as I do. I'm impatient to get on Delirium to find out what exactly is going on, but I know that there are other things we have to take care of first. Before you do anything else, come over here. Damien instructs before heading over to the overhead cupboards and starts pulling out some supplies. I follow him attentively, watching him set down a bottle of blue fluid and a wad of cotton balls. What are you doing? You got a cut on your head. Go away, don't touch my cut on my head. I'm good. My hand flies to my forehead. I hadn't realized it was there. It doesn't hurt at all. Don't touch it. It needs to be cleaned before you go getting it infected. My hands are clean. I don't know about yours. Get away. Don't touch me. You're still in the doghouse for, not saving me back there. Maybe you would have gotten a kiss if you saved me. Nah, kidding. I'm kidding. I drop my hands, letting Damien step forward and press one of the myocentin cotton balls to my head, dabbing it over the wound. It stings a little when it hits the cut, but I try my best to stay still while he works. I didn't know Rye was training an assistant. When you work in my profession, you need to know the basics. Damien turns back to find a small bandage, using it to cover the cut. After smoothing it down over my skin, he stands back and admires his work. All done? Take this too, for the bruises. He grabs a small tube from the container and holds it toward me. I don't think I have. You will in the morning, trust me. Taking the tube of ointment, I pocket it for later, giving him a small smile. Thanks. Don't mention it. Heading over to Rye's desk, I pick up a small mirror, using it to inspect this so-called gash. The bandage has covered the wound completely, so it can't have been too bad. In any case, I'm glad that Damien thought to take care of it, so it wouldn't get any worse. So you want to middle alone with him? Aw, thank you for considering my me time. Damon's voice changes in a tone, bringing me back to a current situation. I assume that he's talking about Vex, and I look towards the bed instinctively. Oh, he's talking about Vex. My dumb ass thought he was talking about the person in the mirror. He's like, you want some time alone with him? And he's like, you know what? Actually, yes, I do. Thank you for considering my me time, you know? After his confession back on Oron, the fact that he was the one who shot Narissa, it's difficult to come to terms with. I'll admit that I may have been putting this off longer than I should. I don't know, because it's like, but if I don't talk to him, he's going to think I'm avoiding him, and then he's going to feel even more guilty when he didn't really have control over anything, and I don't want to do that. And I know for a fact, if he's awake, he is listening into this conversation. So if I go, no, not really, he's gonna overhear me. He's in this room. Yeah, I'll talk to him. Yes, if you don't mind. Sure thing. Just don't tell Cal I left you alone with him. I don't particularly want to be booted out of the airlock before we get to Telerium. Don't worry, I won't say a thing. He grins as he turns his boots, squeaking on the floor beneath him. I'll be right outside. Try not to get into any trouble. If he goes berserk again, just start yelling. I'll put him out of his misery. Hey! No killing here. No murder. Maybe I should take away your knives. Get out of here. I waved Damien off with a shake of my head and a half-concealed grin. I hardly doubt he'd do anything to hurt a hair on his old friend's head. I hear the whoosh of the door as Damien exits behind me, and I step towards the bed where Vex is lying. Reaching out, I pulled open the curtains, only to be met with a pair of heavily lidded emerald eyes blinking at me slowly. Hey, Prince. Vex's voice is raspy when he speaks. He looks half asleep, like he'd just woken up. It must have been in our voices that woken him. See, I told you he was listening. Hey, how are you feeling? I'll live, but I've got to say, that bullet hurt like hell. Vex fronts as he pushes himself up a little, leaning back against a couple of pillows. Just don't tell Damien I said that. I rush forward to help him, fluffing up the pillow behind his back so he can sit more comfortably. Be careful, don't move around too much. Yes, nurse. Very funny. He chuckles at the look I give him, wincing at the pain that strikes him straight after. I have to remind myself that he's in good hands. Rye will make sure he's feeling better in no time. Does it still hurt a lot? A bit, yeah. Rye says it'll take a few days to heal completely. Apparently the med tech on the ship is pretty archaic. I'm grateful for what she's done for me, nonetheless. As long as you're healing, that's all that matters. He gives me a small smile before his face suddenly drops, his shoulders sagging under some kind of weight. I don't know how you can stand to look at me after. He trails off, but I know what he's trying to say. We'll have to talk about all this sooner or later. Because it does still hurt. But I'm glad he's still here. It's the most awkward interactions. Not because, like, this is you know what, this is gonna cure my anxiety. It's just forcing me into these interactions, forcing me to figure out how to answer these two. Da da da. Sorry. Not that I hate pacifism. Okay, I'm back. Anyway. I'm just glad you're still here. All I care about is that you're here, that you're alive. I thought I was going to lose you. I closed my eyes tight against the feeling. I don't want to remember it. I don't want to feel like that ever again. I know that feeling. A sadness cuts into him so deeply that I can see it. It takes from in the hollows of his cheeks, the shadow beneath his eyes. Vex, I'm so sorry about your parents. I had no idea that you were going through all that. We knew each other for so long, and I didn't know. How could you have known? I kept that part of me a secret. I deceived you. A pinprick of anger or needles at me, knowing that he was lying to me all that time. Some part of me feeling guilty for forgiving him so quickly, but a much bigger part feels that this is what we both need. I can only hope that we can move on from this as friends. But you weren't the only one who was deceived. Zovek assured me that my parents were safe. I spent years of my life doing his bidding, convinced that he would help me find them. Every time I wanted to go to Oron to save them, he always had some way to talk me out of it. I think a part of me knew they were gone, but I hoped so much that I would find them, that I could take them home. I should have gone to that prison years ago. I should have stolen a ship for found my own way there. How would you have gotten them out of there? We all saw how heavily the place was guarded. It would have been impossible. Vex paused. Deep down, I think he knows I'm right, but right now, he's hurting too much to care. I would have found a way. He hangs his head low, and I see how the guilt and regret eats away at him, devouring him alive. I can't stop thinking that this is my punishment, karma for everything I've done to others. I don't believe in karma. Terrible things happen to us, all of us. We can let it defeat us, or we can choose to keep going to fight for something better. When did you get so wise? I give him a sheepish look, suddenly feeling a bit awkward. When I found a crew of misfits who seem like they need a bit of wisdom. I know you've made mistakes. That doesn't mean that you don't deserve a second chance. Boo, He squeezed his eyes shut, his jaw tense against some memory from the past, something that's tearing him apart. Vex? I watch as he bares his teeth gritted hard as he tries to pull himself back. You're still having trouble with the corruption in your mind? It comes and goes. I don't know how long I'll be able to hold out before I'm not myself again. I don't want to hurt anyone else. I can't stay on this ship, Boo. We're going to Tellurium. Surely someone can help you. Tellurium? Elisa's there, and Oppo too. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like something important. I'll do my best to hold out until we get there. Vex once again, his eyelids flickering as he fights to stay in control. I'll go and get Damien. You should get some rest. Wait, will you stay with me just a little longer? I feel better when you're here. More like myself. I look down at him, and for a moment, I don't see the man who has caused so much anger and heartbreak, but the boy who just lost his parents in need of comfort. Sure, if that's what you want. I take a seat beside the bed, returning the smile that Vex gives me. Thank you, Boo, for coming to see me. I didn't think you would. I'll always be your friend, Vex, no matter what happens. Same here, as long as my mind permits me, of course. And your mind will always permit you, because I swear, if you stab me after all this forgiveness that I'm giving you, I am going to curse your entire bloodline. Don't worry about that now. You should get some rest. Because if you don't get better, I'm going to slap you. And if you kill me, I'm also going to slap you. I will slap you from the afterlife, and I will make sure to bring you down with me, so you better get better. I help him to lie down and get comfortable, but he doesn't try to sleep straight away. Instead, he looks over at me, a strange smile playing on his lips. So you and Rai, huh? don't think you can start teasing me just because you're stuck in here with a bullet wound. Vex laughs and leans back into his pillow with a lopsided grin. Wouldn't dream of it. I shake my head at him in amusement. It's easy to remember when we had become friends in the first place. The teasing and the laughter comes so easy to us. Perhaps we can learn to be friends once again. We talk a while longer until I notice his eyes growing heavy and his head beginning to nod. All right, I think it's definitely time to get some rest. I help him to get comfortable on his pillow, and it doesn't take long for his breathing to grow deep as he slips into dreams. His body needs plenty of rest to recover. I watch him for a while, gazing at the faint freckles scattered over his nose. Does he have freckles? Hold up, let me look. What freckles over his nose? There's no freckles. I'm like putting my face is super close to the screen and I see no freckles. Hold up. If you want a man to have freckles, you better draw freckles on this man. He don't got no freckles. I don't see none. No freckles. The way his eyes flutter as he dreams. He looks so peaceful, a memory from my past taking physical form right in front of me. When Rai returns a while later, I decide it's time for me to go and get some rest of my own. Alright, I gotta go eat some dinner, but I will be back. Ah crap, how do I get out of here?
Motion detected at the front door. Motion detected at front door.
Ooh, there we go. Ooh. Jeez. Okay, I'm back. Alright. I step into my room with a sigh, relieved to have a moment where I can finally be on my own. Today has drained me in more ways than one, and I feel if I don't get into bed soon, I'll collapse where I stand. It doesn't take long for me to change into some comfortable clothes, slip into my bed, and fall asleep. I wake up a little while later, and while I feel as though if I've just fallen asleep, but the aches and pains in my body, I can tell it's been a few hours. It's been a few hours at least. With a low groan, I sit up and stretch my arms above my head, attempting to stretch out my muscles. I feel I kind of wish there was more. Like every single time you come in, there's more. Anyway, I feel stiff and sore all over. I immediately see Damien was right when I find a bruise on my arm and then another on my shoulder. No doubt the after effect of having almost fallen to my death in a pit. I did forget that happened. I shudder to even think what could have happened if Ryan hadn't been there to save me. I glance at my holopad to check the time while I rub some of the ointment Damien had given me over my bruise. It's too early to be awake, but my body feels rested and my mind won't let me sleep. Though it's the last thing I feel like doing, I think my body could benefit from a bit of training to help warm it up and get it going again. Even some light stretching could do a wonder, and after that, a long hot shower. Before any of that, however, I need to do something about this grumbling stomach. Finally, I thought we just don't eat on this ship. Finally, we get to go back and actually eat. I'm sorry. I head after to the crew for some much needed breakfast and about a gallon of water. I head to the docks to see if I can get my body functioning on at least a normal level again. I haven't seen any of the crew awake, though that's hardly surprising given what time it is. That, and I think that all of us needed a well-deserved night of rest. Heading down the stairs to the docks, the faint sound of grunts and groans drift up to me, and just when I thought I was the only one up early, when I hit the bottom steps, I spot Aya in the distance, a bunch of training pads scattered on the ground around her. She's dressed casually and has a couple of holographic targets set up to practice with, fighting 2 at a time. She's an impressive fighter. I'm sure if we were ever matched together in a fight, she'd completely obliterate me. I watch as she expertly dodges a punch from one target using her ability to get under its arms and take it down with ease. The other one attacks from behind, and for a moment it seems like Aya has lost the game. It takes only a second for the tide to turn, and Aya reaches behind her and grabs the target behind the head, ducking down and using her weight to propel it to the ground, where she finishes off with a final blow. With a triumphant bark of laughter, she stands and straightens her back, shaking out her hands and breathing hard. The target, now severely beaten, disappears, and the hologram and the program ends. That was awesome. Hey! Wait, actually, I kind of like this outfit. Nice training outfit. She looks good, bro. Anyway, At the sound of my voice, Aya turns abruptly, her eyes wide, and her fist raised in defense. It's only me. I'm not sure I'd stand a better chance against you than they did. Oh, I didn't hear you come in. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. That's alright. I was lost in my own head. I spotted only for a second, but the same sadness that seems to be haunting Aya last night passes over her face. In the blink of an eye, it's gone again, replaced by her usually easygoing smile. So, did you get some rest? She changes the subject, and though I want to talk to her more about what's bothering her, I don't want to push it. Yeah, I fell asleep pretty early. You were right, I definitely needed it. She smiles a little, though something about it seems weak, like she's forcing herself to put on a brave face. How did you sleep? Not well. She wrings her hands around, and I'm starting to suspect that it's a sign that she's troubled by something. I couldn't turn my mind off. I kept thinking about Oron, everything that happened there. Everything that could have happened. She begins to pace, her lower lip trembling as she speaks. June was struggling, and I couldn't do anything to help him. He's my friend, and I should have done something. And then Pash and Rai, we could have lost them both. I step forward slowly, trying not to spook her. I can see how fragile she is right now. If it makes you feel any better, I talked with June last night. He's doing good. I think he really needed that outburst to work through a few things. Really? That makes me feel a bit better. Though it's hard to get past these feelings. She turns away from me, her shoulders slumping and her head bowed. A hand flies to her mouth as sobs escape her and her face crumbled. Aya, what's wrong? I'm sorry. It's nothing really. She squints the words out shakily between a small hiccup, sobs rubbing at her eyes to hide the tears. It's nothing. Doesn't seem like nothing. I don't think that's true, Aya. If you're this upset, then there has to be a reason. I don't really want to talk about it. She brushes away the tears with the back of her hand, sniffling quietly. You'll think it's stupid. My chest squeezes. She turns away again. She seems so small, so lost. I'm not sure what to do to stop that. I won't think it's stupid, I promise. I tried to assure her, hoping that having one person to listen to will make a change. After all Aya has done for me, all the support she's given me, it's the least I can do. She hesitates for a moment, but when she finally speaks, I know I'm finally getting her to open up. Many years ago, my parents sacrificed everything to keep me safe. I'm grateful for them for my life I have, but I shouldn't even be here. My brother, Arkaria, was the one who wanted to join the guard. I don't think he can come in.
Huh?
Parker, over here. Come here. You got it, boy. You need help, Barkley? You need help, baby? Come here. Oh, no, baby, come here. Oh, you're heavy. There we go. We got you there, Barkley. We got you there. He wanted to travel the system and other systems too. She closes her eyes, her lashes fluttering as she pulls up memories of the past. All I wanted was for us to have a home, somewhere we could be safe. I joined the guard after he died, but it didn't make things any better. The tears fall thick down her cheeks, and this time she doesn't stop them. We're going to Delirium, the one place he always wanted to see. Realization hits me, and now I know why Aya had wished last night. She wished that Arcaria could be with her when she saw Telerium for the first time. That the two of them could experience a new planet together. I don't know what to say to her. Normally I would just hug her in this very instance. But I think the best thing to say here, I think that in a way you're honoring your brother's legacy. He may not be here physically, but I'm sure he's still with you in other ways. I don't know if it's the same for you, but sometimes I swear I still hear Narissa speaking to me. I smile at her, hoping she won't take what I'm saying in the wrong way. Archaea would have wanted you to go to Tenarium, right? Yes, but I don't know. It doesn't feel the same for me. I just feels like he's gone. I'm so sorry, Boo. I think I just need to be alone right now. That's perfectly fine. That is fair. I watch as she hugs her arms around herself, making herself seem smaller than she already is. I've already lost so much. Everyone that ever mattered to me is gone. They're never coming back, and I just can't lose anyone else. I can't let that happen. She curls the ends of her hair around her fingers, her face steeped so deeply in sadness that it hurts me to witness. Ren was right. I am a nobody. When my friends are in danger, I can't do shit to help them. Okay, now I feel bad for getting mad at them earlier. I'm sorry. Don't say that, Aya. Ren doesn't know anything. It was you who saved Cal from that prison on Glorious. None of us would be here if it wasn't for you. You're the heart of this crew. She gives me a weak smile, but this time I know it's far from genuine. I wish I could believe you. With a sigh, she turns away from me, heading back over to the training mats and the device she uses for the holographic targets. Don't worry about me, Boo. I'll get over it eventually. I tried to say more, but Aya initiates the training device and launches straight into another program. I had initially come down here to train, but I don't want to be a bother, especially when Aya is feeling so down. Heading back towards the stairs, I turn one last time before leaving. I don't want to read this part. Aya is standing in the middle of the training mats, her head bowed at the training program around her forgotten. I want so much to go to her to tell her that everything will be okay, but I feel as though she'll only end up shrugging me off again. I want to tell her that she doesn't have to be happy all the time. It's okay to feel sad about things, that it doesn't make her any less worthy. Instead, I drag myself up the stairs, feeling helpless. It's not like it just shut me out like that, and I'm worried about what it could mean. With my training plans thoroughly tossed out the window, I head back to my room for that long shower I had promised myself. Of course, nobody in my life has died. But I do understand the feeling. And honestly, I think this sometimes, even though, yes, of course, it sucks, but if she doesn't want help, you really can't help her. You really can't force someone to get help. Um, Especially when you're in a state like that. I like it's really something she has to go down and help for herself. Um and I've been on both sides where I was Aya and I just was like I can't do it. But I've also been on the side where I've been me here. Um and just not being able to talk to them. I know it's really hard, but you can't force someone to talk to you. And on Aya's side, if you don't want the help, no one's going to really help you. If you push people away, people will go away. And even those people who tend to just push back, sometimes not giving you that freedom is just gonna for you to push them away for a bit and then come back when you're ready will just push yourself further away. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but what I'm saying is like although this situation sucks on both ends where both parties are hurting because one party wants to help the other party, seeing them hurt so badly and just can't do anything. And then the other party is hurting so badly and could even possibly want the help, but doesn't try to get it or pushes them away. And honest, it sucks for both ends, but really for these kind of moments, sometimes you just gotta let them just work it out themselves. Um, though, uh, though sometimes if it gets to a certain extent or extreme where it turns into they are harming themselves or they are digging so deep that they're either harming themselves or harming other people in a and they're in this state where they're just keep pushing people away and it's just hurting everyone, that's when you step in. But right now in this state, she's hurting and it sucks, but if she doesn't want the help, you can't help. there's only so much you can do when someone's in a state like that. And I'm only saying this um, from personal experiences I've had where I've just been in so much pain. Um, and the best thing I could do was to just be by myself, to work through it myself. Especially if you were raised either in a family or in an environment where you had to take care of everyone else. Of course, I wasn't in a situation where I had to take care of other people, but like you were especially in a situation where you had to take care of yourself most importantly, it's going to be the hardest to go and help someone else. Like not not help someone else, but like it's going to be hard for you to let someone else in and to let someone help you. Um and since you've learned just so many ways to just help yourself, it's going when someone tries to help you and they're extremely, even if, let's say my character, even the, oh, I want my character to go in and try to talk to her more, I wouldn't say that's the best solution. Because being on Aya's end, if someone is a little bit too pushy and somebody tries to force it in to try to help you, to try to get something, it's just going to push them into that spiral a little bit more. They need to put themselves in a state where they will ask, even if it's hard. Not saying you can't help them find a way to ask for that help, but in some ways you really can't predict, and you can't just like you have to be, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not saying this properly, but it's just like essentially it's awful and it hurts, but this is probably the best case scenario. Um because if I forced it on her and forced her to tell me these things, it can bring her deeper into the spiral and make her not want to tell me anything else ever again. Um and then she's just going to be bottling that up until she explodes. And it's going to be even worse for her. But, and so, of course, if she's spiraling so much that she is hurting herself, that's when you should force a step in. But right now, in this state, she's not hurting herself. And it hurts. It definitely hurts. But not, but choosing to just step away and let her deal with it is going to allow her to think this through in at her own pace. And if she deems it, if she deems that she is okay to talk about it now, then she might see that you respected her boundaries enough that she might be willing to tell you more information and tell you more feelings. you really just can't force any of it. So although it feels like the worst scenario and it feels like this is a bad thing, this is probably the best case scenario because it will help her think this through. But it sucks. It definitely does suck. And it's crappy. And of course, I wish I could say more. But this is probably the best case scenario. Another day passes as we make our way towards Chrono, finally docking on the space station and going over some ground rules for our visit. I lean against that chromo in a wayward station run by ex-mercenaries in a seedy place to say the least. But that also means that the chances of us running into any Kamari are slim. As long as we keep our heads down and blend in with the crowd, we'll be able to get what we need and be on our way. Oh, little Vesh loves you. That is a cute little note. Is that a little cap, a little hat? I had managed to go out onto the station and pick up some new clothes and a few personal items, though the options there are somewhat limited and as expensive as Aya warned me. Still, I had found a couple of things that were more my style, and now I'm starting to both feel and look the part of the navigator of the ship. Ooh, these are the clothes. Learn how I can style my little guy. Okay. While the rest of the crew are still out doing their own thing, I take some time to rest up in my room. My body is still a little worse for wear out our encounter on Oran, and I figured that taking it easy can't be a bad thing. As I'm lounging on my bed playing a little game on my holopad, there's a knock at the door. I push myself up from the bed, and when I head over to open it, I find Rai standing there on this other side, smiling at me softly. I'm into that fit. That fit is good. Hello, Boo. I hope I'm not disturbing you. Rai, hi. No, not at all. Do you want to come in? She nods, and I step inside for her to enter the room, letting the door shut behind her. Barkley snoring away behind me. I watch as she steps into the space thoughtfully, glancing around at the room and at the various items I've acquired recently. It's lovely in here, much cozier than when you first arrived. I thank her with a smile, seeing her look over Bash's newest drawings and giggle softly to herself. Silver white waves tumble over her shoulders as she slowly turns and scans the other side of the room. She makes a sound when she spots my shelf, her golden eyes suddenly lighting up. Oh, my planet! Is that a little rock? Is that a little rock eye? I smile as she rushes over to inspect the plant she had given me not long after I arrived on the ship. I've done my best to look after it, watering it every second day like she told me, removing any dead leaves, misting it in the mornings. Overall, it's not looking too shabby. It looks so happy and healthy. You've done a wonderful job caring for it. Now, that is not me. You give me a plant, I'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you. I would try watering it, I would try helping it grow, I'll be working on it, and then the next day it would be dead. Um, am I gonna see an outfit change for every single character? Am I gonna see like a second outfit for every single character? Is that what's gonna happen? I'm just gonna look so happy and healthy. You've done a wonderful job caring for it. I step up behind her and twirl a lock of her hair around one of my fingers, and she turns her head and smiles. Are you surprised? A little, if I'm being honest. The crew don't have the best track record for looking after plants, and I hate to see them go neglected. She turns around and I shovel. Barkley. Barkley, what dream are you having? Why are you barking in your dream? You a grumpy butt. You a grumpy poopy baby butt. Even growling in your dreams. What's in your dreams that you're growling at? She turns around and I shuffle back to give her space, feeling my cheeks start to glow warm as she looks at me, her eyes full of affection. Well, I promise I'm not going to go killing it anytime soon, and at least if I can help it. I like seeing it sitting here. It reminds me of you. Look, I'm so good at rizzing. I'm so good at. You watch pink tints her cheeks as she smiles, but it doesn't take long before her lips tilt downward, her face falling completely. I can't say that I've been very worthy of your thoughts lately, but the crew are all out on the station and Damien is watching over Vex, so I thought it was as good as a time as any to stop by and apologize. Apologize for what? For not checking in on you sooner, for not taking care of you like I should have been. I should have. I take her by the hands, one each of mine, and giving her a reassuring squeeze. It's okay. I know you've had your hands full taking care of Vex. I never expected you to drop all of that just for me. I wanted to. There's nothing I wanted more these past couple of days than to be able to spend time with you, but she shrugs her slim shoulders, giving me a defeated look. Duty calls? That's right. Though, now that we're here, I wanted to ask you how you're feeling. I mean, after everything that happened on Oron. Are you doing okay? All of these do not sound like the answers I would say. I'll be like, yeah, I'm fine. That's probably the best I would say in the best case scenario, because I would not say it was easier than I thought it would be. Because I wouldn't think any of this is easy. And then I never knew revenge could feel so good. I don't know. And then also, I can't believe I killed someone. I don't, even though that's true, I can't tell if that tone is, I can't believe I just killed someone, or I can't believe I just killed someone. You know, like fear or like happy about it. And either of the two. I don't think I would be telling her that. But that does seem more like me than the others. I'm still finding it hard to believe that I killed someone. I suppose when it comes down to it, it was either them or me, but still, I don't like the feeling of knowing I took a life. I understand how you feel, more than you know. It's difficult to watch the destruction of life, especially when you've been raised to believe that all lives are precious. But it's in our nature to protect our own lives first, and if it means anything, I'm glad that you're safe. Yeah, me too. She makes a soft, thoughtful sound as she steps over to my bed and takes a seat on the edge of the mattress. Maybe we can put all of that aside just for now. I've been looking forward to spending time with you, and I thought that we could perhaps talk about some other things. I move over to sit next to her on the bed, my eyebrows raised in curiosity. What kind of things do you want to talk about? Well, I'd like to learn some more about you, if that's alright. Besides knowing that you're a prince, I'm afraid I don't know much else about you. I chuckled quietly to myself. She had me worried there for a moment. What would you like to know? I'm an open book. Rye turns towards me and she takes my hands in hers, her long fingers threading through mine as she smiles at me. I'm curious about your life back on Glorious, I suppose. I grew up on Telerium, and the daughter of a council member, it was sometimes difficult for me to find time for myself when I was living with so many rules and expectations placed on me. I wonder if you ever had the time to do anything for yourself. Did you have something special that you'd like to do at the palace? Taking in a deep breath, I think back on my life on Glorious. The truth is, I had more than enough time to kill. But I did have one thing in particular that I liked to do. I'm listening. I love dancing. I would read a lot. I enjoyed being outside. I like to work on my art. I was always looking for adventures. Now, from the thing is, from the way my character has been talking, I think it was like, oh, I always love going on adventures with Bex and stuff like that. But me personally, I like being in my room, cuddled up, either writing stories or drawing. So, I would say I like to work on my art. Honestly, I really like to work on my own art. There were so many paintings and pictures hanging around the palace, and the gardens were really beautiful. It all inspired me to create art of my own. You sound like Bash. I've always found artists so inspiring. Perhaps you'll show me your work sometime. It's not good. It is definitely a lot worse than the art I'm looking at right now. And that's not me trying to flirt. That's more me saying, dang, look at this artwork. So, but like, maybe, but I don't have anything to work on the ship. You've met Sebastian, haven't you? He'd share his final meal with a complete stranger if you would ask him. I'm sure he wouldn't mind lending you a few supplies. That would be great. I'll try to remember to ask him about it. Rai smiles at me, pleased. Then I've taken her suggestion on board. What kind of art do you do? Uh, how do I tell her that I do different things? Because when I started this YouTube channel, I would post a lot of my paintings. And before I had the YouTube channel, I would do a lot of sketching on papers and stuff like that. But the most recent thing I've been going into a lot is more of a digital art, so I can start learning how to do digital art so I can animate for my own indie project. So I've done all three, And then I've also done worked with clay. I've also um I've also written a lot of stories and poetry, if you count that as art and not just writing. Um and then I've also animated, which I guess could go into digital, but I've also done a flip book on paper, so I guess that can work. I've also worked with a lot of markers. I've done I think the thing I'm most expert at is sketching, because I've had to do it for so long. Like I'm more used to using a pencil and paper than I am digitally. Um and that's usually why my digital art looks a little worse than my physical art. Um I've also I've worked with a bunch of tools. I even like worked with like some sand where I would draw different things in the sand, but I've also built some things in the sand. I've I'm always constantly trying new things. So I've never just stayed on one sort of medium. I've also mixed mediums where I would put clay with my paintings and canvases, and then I would also add shells onto my canvases and stuff like that. I like to craft a lot. I'm also trying to learn some crochet, but crochet seems to be the hardest thing I've ever tried to learn. My little fingers cannot do that, but I will keep trying. One day I will make this little frog guy that I've been trying to make for a while now. Either way, I think I think because the thing I've been doing the most recently is digital art, and since I'm getting used to doing digital art and everything like that, so I'm going to say digital art. Even though technically I've worked with painting and sketching a lot more than digital art, I haven't been doing that lately. So I'm going to put digital art as the medium. Digital mostly. I had a whole bunch of arts on this hollow pad before my horrible brother Alaro dropped it in a fountain. Dang! Arlo! I'm cursing your cow now. You get no cows. After that, I couldn't bring myself to create anymore. I kept thinking about all the art I had lost. That wasn't very nice of him, though I have to admit that my sister and I did some pretty horrid things to each other when we were growing up, too. Excuse me, I would be right back. I do like getting to know Rye, though. Parker, you're gonna have to scoot that booty over. You gotta scoot those donkers. Rai squeezes my hand in a comforting gesture. You have a holopad now. Maybe you'll get back into it? Just don't drop into a fountain. I'd like to, one day. I smile at her. She seems to really enjoy hearing about my life, and I feel like it's been good for me to talk about. Or my former life, anyway. I mentioned earlier that I was interested in your life at the palace. Can I ask you something else about it? Her hands tighten around mine, and she faces me, drawn closer to her, pulled in by her gentle beauty and grace. Of course. What was it like, really living in the palace? Did you enjoy it? I think about it for a moment. My life on Glorious wasn't exactly the best, but unlike many others in Celota, it wasn't the worst either. It was comfortable, I suppose. I never went hungry or anything like that. Okay, so the theory that he probably forgot to feed me is out the window. When I was younger, I had lessons. I was made to attend, but after that, I was both allowed and expected to keep to myself. I swallow thickly as I think back on my life, how far away it seems now, despite being only weeks ago. I mean, I enjoy being on my own. But being on your own 24/7 might sound like a paradise, but then when I think about my experiences with COVID and just being trapped in my house for days on end, not being allowed to leave, I would say it would be pretty lonely. And so just imagine COVID, but for at least 19 years. And I'm assuming my character in this story, from the way everyone's looking, might be a little bit older too. So it's probably not even 19, it's probably like 20 or 30 years. um, so, like, me as an introvert, I would say I would like being on my own. But also me, if I'm alone for too long, that will get depressing and then I will get lonely. I will answer this sometime later because even though it's like we haven't spent much time here, Yeah, I might. Do. Might end it for now. We can save this part for a little bit later. Okay.